Well, hello traders and investors, I'm L.A. Little and this is your daily NeoTA wrap. We take a look at these markets and we do it from a neoclassical perspective. That means each time we ask ourselves what happened today, what does it tell us about the coming ones? I do this show 4 times a week, every Monday through Thursday. It's broadcast at or before 10 o'clock Eastern Time. It's archived on YouTube and it's under the channel L.A. Little. If you haven't subscribed and you want to, just reach up in the right hand corner and do so. Anytime content's pushed, you'll get a notification. As far as what happened today, we actually had some pullbacks start to take place today. S&P was down $2, just 0.1% slightly. Remember, we had those 2-bar failures on Thursday. Didn't mean a thing on Friday as the market moved higher in front of the holiday weekend. You got some pullbacks starting today. Volume escalation pretty much around the world, which, sometimes you see this in unison. You see it several times a year. Most of the time it's on option expiration. Today, I'm not really sure what the deal was. Is there big buy programs that take place around the world? I don't really know. All I know is what I see, and what I see is escalation in volume around the world, more pronounced in those countries, those equity markets where the volumes are not that big to start with, but even pronounced enough to notice here in the U.S. today. So let's pop to the charts here. It's going to be kind of a quick show. There's not a lot to talk about. Dollar was up slightly. We had gold up as well. We had the DAX pull back. We actually had all of Europe pull back. We actually had a surge over in Asia, and part of that surge in Asia was in Shanghai, and we'll look at that chart. Starting with the S&P 500 here. So as we pop up into the S&P, so what we had here today was a move up, over, back under, more volume. That says you can go back up and do it again. In this case, you also tested back into these last couple days, kind of this little zone right here. The ideal case for the S&P is probably to go up and test this top again tomorrow. And I say that because if you look over at the NASDAQ and look at the Russell, you really didn't get any pullback here. It was just continuation. This is an extreme push. Maybe this is some sort of an exhaustion bar coming into the consolidation area up here at the top. There's nothing here to say this is going to reverse at this point. NDX, and that's especially after last week's 2-bar did not do what it should have done. On the NDX, it was the same story, another push, volume expands into the bottoms of the swing point high, its lows. That point right there, you can see it's into it now. Volume on that bar is lighter. It looks to me like there's nothing here to stop this one yet either. Finally, if you move over to the Russell actually had a continuation. Russell gets over, fails on price at the swing point high, but also pushes with volume, which says that this too can go up and test it again tomorrow. If we look at the world markets to try to get a clue as to whether or not that will be the case tomorrow, let's start in Europe, where we started to see the pullback today. Now, Europe had also had the big run higher just as we had. Matter of fact, their surge was more pronounced off the beginning here when it started to surge. So today I don't have the volume on Europe. I don't have it on France, don't have, and on Germany. But we do have it on Switzerland, and it's heavier there. So I can see that these probably were heavier as well. So that means you go over, back under, but it's heavier volume, which says it can also test again tomorrow. If I look at the CACs, I've got the same sort of story here on the CACs with a push up, back under, more volume on it probably as well. And finally, if we look at the one place that we do have volume in Europe, it is in Switzerland, and Switzerland had heavier volume as it escalated to the downside. Now, Switzerland's a little different. Switzerland had a larger move to the top side, gets over a swing point high. Now it's coming back to do a retest regen. It's coming back with more volume. It's a wide price spread bar. When you have this set up, the probabilities favor that this thing will do a full retest regen, which means it should come back into here. You have this wide price spread bar as well. So I would think that's the target on the way back, and that would be about, let's get the number here, about 81.38 on the SMI, as low as 80.80 or 80.81 roughly. So Switzerland is the only one that's kind of telling us, hey, Europe looks like it's probably going to try and do some pullback. If we go over to Asia, where things have lagged greatly, we saw a huge volume escalation there. You can see it here on Hong Kong. You can also see it on Shanghai. And in Shanghai, you actually had a huge surge in price as well, 3.3%. There's talk of these guys getting included into the MSCI, the mainland China stocks. That was some front running off that news, it looks like. If you look at it on a longer term basis, I don't know it's anything to get excited about yet, but you can see a pretty good move on the daily charts take place. And it wasn't just there. I mean, we saw volume everywhere, as I said up front. So what it looks like to me in all these cases is that you're going to get another attempt to continue to the upside tomorrow. Maybe not so much in Europe, but certainly in Asia tonight, probably in the U.S. markets tomorrow. You have Draghi and the ECB on Thursday. I think that's going to be the key this week. You got the Fed in a couple of weeks. I still think it's a lot about currencies. The dollar hasn't given anything back. Dollar is at resistance though, and so that's going to probably be the key this week. That's Thursday morning. So it's a holiday shortened week. I'd expect maybe a little bit more work to the upside tomorrow, and then maybe some sort of a pullback starting to brew. Thanks for joining me. Have a great one. I'll see you next time. Good night.